This is an absolutely hilarious video you're about to watch. We're gonna hear the Black Hope, the greatest hero that ever rose in the Democrat Party, Barack Hussein Obama. When you hear him, I'm not gonna say who he sounds like yet, but at the end, I want you to think, who does this guy sound like? He sounds like a person who you wouldn't expect. This is really, really funny to me. This is actually pure comedy. So, y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get into this.
This administration, the Bush administration, has done nothing to control the problem that we have. We've had 5 million undocumented workers come over the borders since George Bush took office. It has become an extraordinary problem, and the reason the American people are concerned is because they are seeing their own economic position slip away. And oftentimes, employers are exploiting these undocumented workers. They're not paying the minimum wage. They're not observing worker safety laws. And so what we have to do is create a comprehensive solution to the problem. Now, I have already stated that as president, I will make sure that we finally have the kind of border security that we need. That's step number one. Step number two is to take on employers. Right now, an employer has more of a chance of getting hit by lightning than be prosecuted for hiring an undocumented worker. That has to change. They have to be held accountable. And when we do those things, I believe that we can take the undocumented workers, the illegal aliens who are here, get them out of the shadows, make sure that they are subject to a stiff penalty, make sure that they're learning English, make sure that they go to the back of the line. So the illegal aliens who are here, get them out of the shadows, make sure that they are subject to a stiff penalty, make sure that they're learning English, make sure that they go to the back of the line so they're not getting an advantage over people who came here legally. And when we do that, I think that we can, instead of shedding all this heat, start shedding some light on the problem, and we can once again be a nation of laws and a nation of immigrants. That's what I intend to do as President of the United States.
All right. Who did he sound like right there? We have the prior administration to us let all millions of illegals come through the border, and that's not right. That sounds a little bit like, dare I say, Donald Trump. Guys, this shows you how far the Democratic Party has went. This is Obama, guys. Obama back in the day sounds like a literal Republican right now. He sounds like MAGA Trump right now. And if you said that same speech, right? If that same speech we just heard came out of Donald Trump's mouth today, what would they say about it? Oh, they would do all the complaining that they do and call him a xenophobe and all these names and all these things. But this is a regular moderate policy. That's why I say it's not really a moral debate. Illegal immigration is not at all a moral debate. It's just it's a political thing. This is how you run a country. Countries have laws. Countries have borders. You must enforce those laws. You must enforce those borders. That is not mean. That is not immoral. That is how you run a country. That is standard. Now, here they asked Obama about deporting the kids. Let's hear what he has to say about this.
Last time we spoke, you said that you weren't king, you were president. There were only certain things you could do unilaterally. As time goes on, 1,000 deportations on average a day. People are wondering, and our Twitter feeds and Facebook
1,000 a day now. There's not a little bit.
feeds, that's the question everybody asks. Won't you at least consider unilaterally freezing deportations for the parents of deferred action kids?
Yeah. Here's the problem that I have, Jose, and I've said this consistently. My job in the executive branch is supposed to be to carry out the laws that are passed. Congress has said, here's the law when it comes to those who are undocumented, and they allocate a whole bunch of money for enforcement. And what I have been able to do is to make a legal argument that I think is absolutely right, which is that given the resources we have, we can't do everything that Congress has asked us to do. What we can do is then carve out the DREAM Act folks, saying young people who have basically grown up here are Americans that we should welcome. We're not going to have them operate under a cloud, under a shadow. But if we start broadening that, then essentially I would be ignoring the law in a way that I think would be very difficult to defend legally. So that's not an option. And I do get a little worried that advocates of immigration reform start losing heart and immediately thinking, well, somehow there's an out here. If Congress doesn't act, we'll just have the president sign something and that'll take care of it and we won't have to worry about it. What I've said is that there's a path to get this done, and that's through Congress. And right now, everybody should be focused on making sure that bill that's already passed out of the Senate hits the floor of the House of Representatives. It's not as if the votes are not there. Right. The votes are there. The only thing that's preventing it is, the Speaker Boehner's decided that he doesn't want to call it right now.
We must enforce the law. That's basically what I got from that. I don't know about that bill. I don't know if it was a good bill or a bad bill, but what I got from that is he said, we must enforce the law. My job as president, as the leader of the executive branch, is to enforce the law. And that's what I must do. And there's no getting around that. But when Trump does it, or when Trump says it, it's a problem. See, I wonder, is it just Trump, or is it this policy, or is it immigration? I don't really know what it is, because when the next president, either JD or Marco, because we all know that's who it's going to be, when they start deporting people and they start closing the border, are they going to use the same arguments? Are we going to see, like literally in Houston, guys, I drive down the highway all the time, and there's always these people on this big bridge, right? And they'll have either a military uniform on or a cop uniform on or something, and they'll say, F word ICE, honk if you agree. And most of the time, nobody's honking. But it's like, were they doing that when Obama was doing this? Was that even a thing at all? See, it's not. I remember Taj said something very wise. It's not the what, it's the who. It's just the fact that it's Trump and Republicans. They don't really care about illegal immigrants. They don't care about even black people. Democrats don't. They just don't want Trump to be right or Republicans to be right. They just want to be right. They want to have the moral high ground.
I continue to believe that the best way to solve this problem is by working together to pass that kind of common sense law. But until that happens, there are actions I have the legal authority to take as president, the same kinds of actions taken by Democratic and Republican presidents before me, that will help make our immigration system more fair and more just. Tonight, I'm announcing those actions. First, we'll build on our progress at the border with additional resources for our law enforcement personnel, so that they can stem the flow of illegal crossings and speed the return of those who do cross over.
Whoa. Did that sound, how does that sound, guys? Does that sound like the Democrats today? Okay, let's keep going. Sorry, guys. This is just so funny that how quickly things change in 10 years. How much more radical we have gotten in 10 years. Wow.
So that they can stem the flow of illegal crossings and speed the return of those who do cross over. Second, I'll make it easier and faster for high-skilled immigrants, graduates, and entrepreneurs to stay and contribute to our economy, as so many business leaders have proposed. Third, we'll take steps to deal responsibly with the millions of undocumented immigrants who already live in our country. I want to say more about this third issue because it generates the most passion and controversy. Even as we are a nation of immigrants, we're also a nation of laws.
Oh.
Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws.
Oh.
And I believe that they must be held accountable, especially those who may be dangerous. That's why over the past 6 years, deportations of criminals are up 80%. And that's why we're going to keep focusing enforcement resources on actual threats to our security. Felons, not families. Criminals, not children. Gang members, not a mom who's working hard to provide for
That's xenophobic. They're not all criminals.
her kids. We'll prioritize, just like law enforcement does every day. But even as we focus on deporting criminals, the fact is millions of immigrants in every state, of every race and nationality, still live here illegally. And let's be honest, tracking down, rounding up, and deporting millions of people isn't realistic. Anyone who suggests otherwise isn't being straight with you. It's also not who we are as Americans. After all, most of these immigrants have been here a long time. They work hard, often in tough, low-paying jobs. They support their families. They worship at our churches. Many of their kids are American-born.
Okay, now that I want to actually let me let him finish.
They work hard, often in tough, low-paying jobs. They support their families. They worship at our churches. Many of their kids are American born or spent most of their lives here. And their hopes, dreams, and patriotism are just like ours. As my predecessor, President Bush, once put it, they are a part of American life.
Slightly more moderate than Trump, but honestly, if you would have said if he would have gave that exact same speech today, that is almost a MAGA Trump speech, pretty much. And I think that I do want to say one thing about immigration and illegal immigration, right? My biggest concern, right, with America right now is a lot different than many people's. See, I look at things through a spiritual lens, right? So when we have illegal immigrants coming from Mexico, do I disagree with that? 100%. You know I disagree with that. Y'all already know where I stand about that. But which do I dislike more? Illegal immigrants coming from Mexico or Muslim illegal immigrants coming and taking over? Like what happened in Spain, that is a nightmare. That is, you know why? Because we do not worship the same God. At least the illegal immigrants from Mexico love Jesus. Not all of them, but some of them. And, you know, primarily that's probably going to be the main religion if they have one down there. So yes, is it a problem for economics and things like this? Yes, of course. You cannot just open the borders at all, right? But if you had to choose a Mexican illegal or a Muslim illegal, well, that's an easy choice for me. And that boils down to who you worship. And if we let Muslims take over America, we're going to end up like how the UK looks right now. We're going to end up with how Spain looks right now. The Muslim countries would not let Christians come and take over there. And that's why in Texas, we got all these mosques and things. And, you know, it's like that. So that's how I feel about this stuff, man. But I just thought this was really funny because Obama is MAGA. I might make that the title of this video because that's how it looks. That sounded almost MAGA-like to me. So y'all let me know if y'all like this video. Y'all like, comment, and subscribe, man. I'm out of here.